What up, y'all? Welcome to Awakening Warriors Podcast, where we talk about life, love, lessons, and learning. Bam! Fucking
Good
nailed
job.
it. So, jump right into it. We had a pretty eventful week
And
and weekend. So as we priorly mentioned, we were going to do a 50-mile ultramarathon. And so we did it. No training, and it took us just over 13 and a half hours. At one point, you were almost 4.5 miles behind me, and you ended up finishing like 4 minutes behind me. So that was definitely challenging. I thought it was going to be easier than what it was, and it started out pretty easy for the most part. I'd say a little over halfway, I'd say the first 30 miles were relatively easy. And then after that, the last 20, because it was over 50, it was 52.8. So, yeah, the last 23 were tough, and the last 10 were excruciating.
yeah, and that's your experience, I guess, because I had hit a wall well before 30 miles. But I came in waves. Like I would be fine for a while, and then I'd hit a wall for a while, and then I'd be fine again,
Peaks and valleys.
and then I'd hit a wall again.
Yeah.
So we, like he said, I was behind him a significant amount at one point, so we were really only together. I don't even know if we were together the first mile. Like, together. You were
Yeah.
still, like, in front of me. Like, I could very clearly see you. You were probably, like, 5-10 feet in front of me for, like, a little bit. But then that gap just got, like, further and further and further. And
Yeah, for sure.
then eventually you were gone. Because by the time we got to the first aid station, you were, like, totally out of my sight, which was 10 miles in, so.
Yeah. And another buddy of ours ran it, Brendan. He beat both of our asses. Granted, he trained, but still, like, mad props and respect, because it's definitely tough. So I think he ended up about an hour ahead of us, at least an hour, if not maybe an hour and a half.
I think a little over an hour.
Yeah, I think he was at like 12.
12:26.
Yeah, I think you're right. So,
And we were 12 or 13,
31 and some
31,
seconds.
13:35.
The first person who completed our particular race, because there were people that ran the 100 and the people that ran the 50. The one chick, or I think it was a dude, I guess, he ran in like 7 hours and 9 minutes, which is like fucking astronomical to me, because that's like an 8 minute and 30-some second pace.
The whole time.
The whole
Yeah.
time.
That's
Yeah.
an average, so I mean, obviously he was running faster at some points probably, and
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
that's insane. I never hit that. Even my first mile was like 11 something.
Yeah, mine was like 10:57 or something. So.
And in terms of like looking in, like, because I also thought it was going to be easier, and in some ways it was for me. It was also a very different experience because last year I did it with my brother, and was like, he also didn't train, but I think was even less prepared than we were, so I was like, not gonna leave him. Like, my goal is just to finish, and obviously this year I'd like finish, but I still was like, dude, I'm gonna do it faster. Like, and so because it was just me, that has like its pros and its cons, because like the pros were I didn't have somebody else's like bullshit of like, this sucks and blah blah blah, and but I had my own, like, I only had me and myself, though, to, like, talk me out of, like, when I were in those valleys and stuff, too, so.
Yeah, it's a whole different dynamic,
And
that's for sure.
Pushed myself harder, because I got it done a lot faster. I cut off, like, 5 hours.
Yeah.
From my last year's race. So, I just, like, worked harder, but I also, like, felt better, I think, overall. Just in terms of, because I remember last year, like, wanting to, like, run more and, like, but again, I wasn't going to leave him. So, like, this year when I felt good, like, I just kept running. Like, dang, I feel good. And, yeah, so I just had more, like, bursts, I think, of being able to, like, get further faster.
For guys like, or people, I should say, like us, we don't, like, train, we don't prep, we're not runners. We just do it to do it because we want to get ourselves out of the, mundane routine and challenge ourselves. Well, this is, I guess, speaking on my behalf. I don't know how the fuck you do it. But I just like to do hard shit here and there. Like, you know, it's one day out of the year, right? I mean, it was one fucking day.
13 and a half hours.
Yeah, it was 13 and a half hours out of my fucking year, or my life, or whatever you want to look at it. Like, why can't we as human beings do challenging shit here and there just because? Like, why not? Because I think people look at us like we're crazy or weird or whatever because we do this shit. But I'm like, dude, like, it's one fucking day. It's 13 and a half hours of absolute suck. And it wasn't even 13 hours actually. It was probably like fucking 7 hours of suck.
Yeah, of like real suck.
Of
yeah.
real
like
suck.
Running's not fun to begin with, but I mean that's just like meh, this isn't super fun, but like real pain and like push through and
Yep. And then you got the after effect, right, yesterday and shit, which sucks. But you know, still, like, okay, you got, if you want to look at the whole fucking thing, you got Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You know, and by Tuesday, we'll be relatively fine, you know? So it's like, okay, you got 3 days of really shitty whatever out of your whole year or your whole life, and, you know, what the fuck, who cares? Like, you know, now you can say you did it.
Even then, I feel like it's symbolic, because, like, the rest time, it does suck. Like, we're sore and we hurt, but, like, it's like like, you did this really hard thing, and now's this time to, like, rejuvenate and recoup and because you did expend and, like, push yourself and...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just all part of it to me, I guess. But, like, I don't know. I say
process.
I've never had a kid, but I say it's like childbirth because, like, you know, in theory, okay, last year sucked ass. Like, it hurt and all these things, and then you, like, kind of just forget about it, right? Like, the pain, you don't literally remember the pain. You're like, okay, I know it sucked. I know I could barely walk after. I know my shit hurt really bad, but, like, you don't literally remember the sensation of the pain, and then, like, it comes back because we did it again, and then I'm like, oh my god! Like, it's back, I don't remember it being this bad.
I definitely don't think it was as bad as last year, as far as my shit goes.
Yeah, you also did double last year.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. But, like, when I get off and when I finish, I'm like, oh my god, that's, you know, I'm fucking done, whatever else. Like, but, like, yesterday, it was like, I kind of liked the hurt. I kind of enjoy the fucking, it's humorous to me. Yeah, you know, like Goggins talks about, you fucking earned that shit, but it's not even like that. It's not even as twisted as where he's at. But I just enjoy, I don't know, I just fucking enjoy it. It's like, you know, I told you it was like hitting a funny bone, you know, like you're fucking trying to get up and you're like, oh fuck, it hurts so bad, but it's like, I don't know, it feels kind of good in a way. I don't know.
You're like that even with, like, being really sore just from the gym. Like, you'll, like, rub it like, ooh, yeah, it's that, like, feel-good hurt.
Yeah, a little bit. So, yeah, this year was definitely rough. I thought I was going to do... So, this year I ran 50 miles in 13.5 hours, basically. Last year, I did 100 miles in 28 hours and 45 minutes. So you're basically doubling it, right? I mean, 26, 27 hours and, you know, 28, 45. It's close enough to being, you know, right there, right? So it's just mind-blowing to me that I even did the 100. I keep saying that. Like, I don't even know how I fucking did it. Granted, I trained for 4 months, but, like, even the training, my biggest week was 30 to 35 miles. For the week, you know, I like talked to multiple people and they were fucking laughing at me, like when I did the 100, and they're like, dude, you're crazy, because like that's like, he's like, I'm running 70 fucking mile weeks for the past, you know, umpteen months. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. That's not good. I don't know. And like last year, it was fucking, I had a similar thing. I had a similar experience to you last year as you did this year. Like, I was alone pretty much the whole time. You know, I would hook up with a couple people here and there that would stop with me or pass me or whatever that I'd, like, you know, talk to, like, then for a few minutes. But other than that, like, the whole fucking time I was literally by myself, you know, for the full 100. And it was just fucking, like, miserable, because you're in your fucking head the whole time and everything else. And
yeah, dude, whenever I hit those walls, and I think, like, the scenery kind of mattered too, because at one point we were on this, like, pretty busy road, and it's like pouring rain, and I feel like it was only like 13 miles in, and I hit a wall then, because I was just like, this is freaking stupid, and I like just start crying, because I'm like, it's raining, all these stupid cars are going by, I'm by myself, like all these things. But then we got to like more country roads, and I'm like, like, okay, just like, not to say I didn't hit a wall again, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's where
makes a difference for me.
I think that's where I hit my first wall. Was right around. I shouldn't even say it was a wall. My first challenge, like, it kind of slowed me up because I had some fucked up knee shit going on my outside knee. I don't know if it was a muscle or what, but even like now it's super tender. And I was just like, I fucking stretched out for like literally 15 seconds, and then I just like pushed through it and fucking was like, all right, fuck you. And
yeah, I had cramping this time, which I didn't have last time either, which was new for me, because I'd be running and then all of a sudden it was like this right above my knee would just like seize up, and I'd like, oh my god. So I had to like walk when that was coming through, and then it would kind of like work itself out, and then I'd run again, and then all of a sudden it would like seize up again, and then I'd just walk. And that was just kind of my like flow for that time period, because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna run when I can, and then I'll just walk it out. And that's when I had talked to you on the phone briefly. Around there was when I was like not thrilled.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it was a hell of an experience. It was definitely fun for some of it.
It was, yeah.
The rest of it was like, kind of rough.
Thinking about the times I was like feeling good, and I told you, like, I was like talking to myself, and like, 'cause literally no one's around, so I'm just like, I can talk to myself anyway, but yeah, like I would feel good, and I would. Prior to the race, I listened to an Aubrey Marcus podcast with this Navy SEAL guy, and he talks about like elite mental performance. And so this guy talked a lot about like chunking things out, because like if you look at the end goal, like you're gonna drive yourself insane. If you look at this mountain that you're supposed to climb and look at the whole entire thing, like you're basically gonna fuck yourself, because you have a lot to go before you get to that point. And so there would be times where I'm like thinking about what mile I'm at, and I'm like, I have to go like beyond 50. And then I would like literally tell myself, like, dude, don't think about that, because I'm gonna drive myself insane. I'm gonna like run to that black mailbox. And then I get to the mailbox, and like sometimes I would literally stop, like, okay, I made my goal, I made it to the mailbox. And then other times I'd get to the mailbox, and I'm like, ooh, I still feel good. All right, I'm gonna go to that yellow thing. I'm still going. Okay, I'm gonna go to that tree. Like, and then I told you the talking to myself part came when I would like pump myself up, because I'm like, good job, mainly because I was like talking to my body, because like I was cramping and like certain parts hurt, so I would like talk to that part of my body, like, oh, good job, you're doing so good, we're making it to that mailbox. And I'd get there and I'm like, good job, you freaking did it, you're awesome.
Yeah, that's how I was last year, and that's how I was a little bit this year, but when I got towards the end, that went out the freaking window.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, because I did the same thing, like I'll run, because especially when we hit the rolling hills.
Yeah.
You know, I do that a lot. Like, okay, I'm running to the fucking sign, because the sign would be like partially up the hill, but not all the way up the hill. It'd be like at a good happy medium to stop. Right. So then you kind of got a little bit of momentum, and then I did that too. I'd run to the sign or the tree or the pole or whatever else, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm good. And then I'd walk up the fucking hill.
Yeah, and then usually like as soon as I got to the top, then I'm like, all right, because it's either downhill or it's like relatively straight, so like I'm gonna run this because I see another freaking hill coming.
Yeah, and then you try to make it to the next hill. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy because when you're going through this process, and people will never understand unless you actually go through it. So I highly encourage you, even if you don't do as long as the ones that we've done, to like go out and do a fucking marathon, you know, because when you do stuff like this that's long and drawn out and drug out, you go through your peaks and then you go through your valleys, and then like if you don't quit in your valleys, eventually you'll have another peak. Eventually. But when that comes, I don't know. And like even on my last 10 miles, like I wasn't seeing another like peak coming anytime soon, but eventually I'm sure it would have came, because my shit was so locked up. My hamstrings were definitely the biggest culprit of my demise yesterday or Saturday, and but everything else was relatively decent. But I literally couldn't extend my legs, so it's almost like I was like hobbling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
tossing
your hips.
I'm like swinging my hips in order to, because my fucking legs would not bend, so I was just kind of like getting it like that, and it was horrible.
Yeah, my biggest thing was this foot thing, which it's actually even looking better. It's not even like that bruised anymore. Yeah, it was this like foot thing. Like all of a sudden I just felt this like, every time I would release from a step, I had this like super sharp pain, and I was like, oh God, that's not good. But I was telling you, and I like was telling myself, because eventually if you just keep pushing through that, it becomes a pain that you're like used to. Like it didn't go away by any means. Like I may have just ignored it or whatever, but like the push through, like then I was like, okay, now it's bearable. Like it really freaking hurt as soon as I noticed it, but then I was like, I'm just gonna keep going, and then it like turns into a pain that you're used to, which I'm like, that's what happened with all the rest of it. Like as soon as I started feeling the cramping, like I just got used to it. It's a pain that I worked with, and like got used to how that felt hurting, and so my foot did the same thing. Like it started hurting really bad, and then I just keep running or keep walking or wherever I was at that point, and then it just became a part of like all the other pain that I was used to at that point.
And two things. One, people don't do that, which we can jump into. They don't push through that shit. And two, one of the things that your body does is it will naturally start, like adapting. Like your body will like, I'm pretty sure Goggins talks about it at some point, but your body will be like, what the fuck? Like your body's trying to tell you to stop. Like stop, we're hurting. Stop, we're in pain. Stop doing that. But if you're stronger than your fucking body mentally, as far as that goes, you can like push through that pain. Your body's like, oh fuck, this motherfucker's not gonna stop. Like we gotta do something. So then it's gonna like either reduce that or send something down there in order to like like either that's gonna lessen the trigger or it's gonna like fucking sedate that pain.
And that's where I think like technically, I don't know, maybe not. I'm not a scientist. I may talk like I am, but like where inflammation comes, because it's like, especially I think maybe in this part, because that's the baddest part of my foot right now, like, okay, we're going to send like puffy to that because it's still going, you're still going, so like we're going to cushion it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I know things also get like inflamed when they're just irritated and whatever, but
yeah.
like...
Yeah, but I mean, if we wouldn't have gone as far and we would have quit earlier, our shit wouldn't be nearly as inflamed. So,
yeah.
Everything our body does is for our benefit, usually. Like inflammation is, it's a bad thing, but it's also a good thing.
Or even just the pain in general, like it's a signal, like, hey, something's not right.
Yeah, the pain is signal. So like when people take those fucking drugs.
Hey, really tired.
Yeah. When people take those fucking Norcos or Advil or whatever else, they're just masking the problem. They're not fixing the fucking problem. Like,
which I'll admit, I did take pain meds, but I knew that was happening. Like, I knew that was still hurting. It was just that, like, I'm going to not necessarily feel it. Because
I feel like to be honest, I wish I would have took more. I only took 3 Advils, and that was at, like, mile probably 23 or something. So
I think I took, like, 10 total. I took 3, and then 2 from the guy, and then 3 from your mom, and then 2 later on.
Gotcha. Yeah, I only ended up taking 3 the whole time. That was just once, and it did help. It was a huge benefit.
Same. I could feel when it kicked in. Like, I was like, hell yes!
Yeah. Yep. But then you're, depending on what you're doing, right? Like, you're masking the pain that you're, like, trying to get, So, like...
Partially. It's not like it all just, like...
Yeah, I'm not saying that. You're still masking it, though.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, like, people that do the ice baths without putting their hands in there, like, it's not the same. It's just not, because when you put your hands in there, it gets twice as hard as far as mentally goes, because then you're just like, oh, fuck.
Well, even, like, after the fact, after we were done racing, like, your mom asked me if I went in pain meds, and I was like, nope, I'll be okay. Like, it's part of the process, and we haven't taken any since running.
Yeah, I haven't taken any since, Saturday afternoon or whatever that was, so.
But we have been, like, resting more than usual. We've been ice bathing, which we were doing anyway, but... Now it's, like, in my mind, I'm, like, sitting in there and I'm like, recovery.
Yeah. Before we get to the recovery and everything, you mentioned I wanted to talk about people not wanting to push through that pain, because, like, people are always like, oh, if it hurts, you can just stop, oh, it's painful, you can just stop, oh, it's hard, you can just stop. When in reality, that's not how we should be fucking encouraging our friends or... raising our kids, in my personal opinion, so. And
I totally agree with that, but there's parts of me too that, like, I don't know, maybe parts of you too, but like if you're straight up injured, but Goggins would say differently, like he literally broke bones in his body and was like, screw it.
It depends on your reason in doing it, and it depends on how bad the injury is, obviously. You know, like us, like we were fucked up. I could barely walk. I had, you know, like I had very slow miles. I was hobbling. Like there was a lot of people would have just fucking quit well before, and a lot of people did quit, you know. So like, but the thing is, like, you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, I didn't seriously injure anything. Like, at the end of the day, I was in massive pain. I wanted to cry. I was in tears. I thought about quitting over and over and over again. Like, even when I was at the end, I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna quit. You know, I can just quit right now and just be done. And, you know, that's the easy way out. But I was one of the things that saved me, and I wasn't super close to quitting, right? I was, you know, like I wanted to quit, but it's not like I was like about to pick up the phone and call my mom and say, hey, pick me up. But like my mind was like, okay, you can quit. Like once it's in there, it's like a fucking disease. It just fucking comes up again and again and again, and you have to fucking keep crushing it over and over and over again. So it's not like I was, like I said, about to pick up the phone and call her, but it was there taunting me over and over and over again. And fuck, I forgot where I was gonna go.
Pushing through the pain.
Pushing through the pain. You know, like I knew I wasn't gonna be injured. I knew I was gonna be fucked up for the next few days, and my body was going to, you know, be in some seriously rough shape. Like we literally couldn't walk. But it is what it is. Like I knew, like, okay, I'll be fine in a few days. What's the big deal? And a lot of people, like, as soon as they hit that pain, they're like, oh fuck, this hurts. I'm done. Like, you know, and you're just like, fuck, that's just when you start. Like, you know, they talk about like, Muhammad Ali doing the crunches or whatever. When do the crunches, or how many do you do? And he's like, it starts when it hurts or whatever.
Yeah, for like reps or whatever. Like, well, how many do you do? Like, well, I just start counting once it starts hurting.
Once it hurts, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, which makes sense. So, I think we need to stop like pussyfying our friends and everybody else and our children and whatever, as far as society goes, as far as doing hard stuff.
Especially because, like, life will bring you hard stuff. Like, this is so applicable to, like, okay, I don't remember who we were listening to, but they talk about, like, the physical aspect is the easiest thing that you can do to, like, push yourself out of your comfort zone, do hard stuff, because it's literally just, like the race. Like, we decided to do it, we signed up, it's one foot in front of the other. Like, that is easy to do, and
simple.
And so doing that, especially for somebody like me, like when I did the 50 last year, like this year I knew I could do it because I was like, dude, I did it last year. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I can do it. Although the quitting obviously was super frequent as well too. But for me, especially last year, like I was like, dang, like that's legit probably like the hardest physical feat I have like ever done, and I freaking did it. Like, and so then that like bled into other areas of my life. Like, I can do hard things, I can do uncomfortable things, like even when it hurts, even when it's like really sucky, like I can push through that and do the thing. And that's just like helped in a lot of different areas of my life, I think.
It made you more confident, probably, right? Like, realistically, like after you complete something challenging, like for me, how it works for me as far as this goes, like I'm that much more confident now that I've accomplished something that most people will never even consider accomplishing. You know, like it's almost like I deserve, you know, not recognition, but I'm more worthy. As far as, let's wait, I'm more worthy than how worthy I was yesterday. And you can go into this whole fucking spat and say you're worthy just because you're born, right? Well, that's our fucking problem with society at this point, because everybody thinks they're worthy.
Can you imagine though if people, no. That's the thing, is people don't think they are, and that's exactly why we see what
everybody's entitled. Everybody's
entitled.
Our generation is entitled as fuck.
Overall, sure.
Yeah. Oh, well, looking at the trends, society is definitely going into a more entitled direction.
But entitled doesn't necessarily equal worthy. Like, I truly believe...
It basically does.
No. I truly believe if everyone truly felt their worthiness, we would have a lot less issues. But because we don't feel worthy, and ego freaking fills that space, is then when we're greedy, is then when we're lazy, is then when we're all of these things because we don't feel worthy enough to XYZ.
I would disagree because I think entitlement is entitlement isn't ego always feels worthy, kinda.
Ego feels scared. Ego feels attacked. Ego feels not good enough.
Yeah,
that's all ego.
I understand, I guess, where you're going with that. We'll have to go down that rabbit hole with a fucking different podcast.
Another time,
and when I actually process it.
But going back to the confidence piece, like, probably, I guess.
It boosts the fuck out of my confidence after you do something like that. Like, you earned that. Like, I didn't get a fucking... Oh, I did. I did get a participation trophy, right? I didn't place. But it's different than, completing, a fucking 5K or something. Like, anybody can go out and fucking walk a 5K. Like, do 50 fucking miles and it takes you, 13 and a half hours. Like, that's different. So, therefore, like, okay, I could care less about their participation trophy. I care about the act of me getting it done. Me accomplishing that task. Because that is not a task that is very easily accomplished.
I have so many things to say, which might be another podcast too. Because in that podcast I listened to, we talked about that, like, if buying the running shoes scares the shit out of you, then that is a good enough step for you to take. Where you're not there. You're like, I'm going to do 100 miles, 150 miles. That's what scares me. Where somebody else to sign up for a 5K and do that might be something that scares the shit out of them. So for you to say, like, anybody can sit here and do a 5K, like, not true.
That's 100%
that might be somebody's
true.
Step to something else.
Unless you're fucking, like, seriously handicapped or obesely overweight, you can do a fucking 5K. You can walk a fucking 5K.
Yeah.
It takes you, like, fucking 45 minutes at the most.
Another thing that popped into my head that's kind of interesting that is coming from that podcast is he talks about, like, I don't remember the word. But, like, this year's 50, I wasn't as nervous, and I don't think I got as much of a dopamine hit from it. Like, I was like, well, hell yeah, I knew I was going to finish it, like, duh. Even though, again, I had, like, I want to quit all the way, like, through practically. But, like, last year was, like, a totally different story. Like, I was nervous going, like, as we were standing there at the start. Like, I did get a little bit nervous when we saw the acceptance email come through, but that was, like, it. And then I think I definitely, like, reveled in it more last year than this year.
I got a way more dopamine hit. Granted, I accomplished way more last year, too. And there was a lot more that went into it because I trained for 4 months. So it was a very, like, big leading thing into it. But, yeah, I didn't get that much of a dopamine hit. This year, the most useful part of it was just, like, pushing through the pain.
And like I said, for me, too, like, I think, like, there are certain aspects of it that probably did boost my confidence. Because, again, it was by myself, which I have this, like, belief that, like, I'm not capable. And, like, Eileen, I knew a lot. So, like, the fact that I was by myself the whole time, like, hell yes. Like, that does feel good that I did it without. And even, like, the headphone thing, like, that's small, but even then I didn't need to, like, put my headphones on and listen to a podcast or just listen to some music. Like, it was just me. Like, even that kind of, like, makes me feel good, too. Because I'm like, hell yes, because I'm not used to, like, being able to rely on myself like that. And, like, so, that, I guess in that way, I just need to probably sit with that more.
Yeah, you earned that confidence because you did the certain things. Like, I believe that you have to earn things. Like, I don't believe in, like, you just fucking come here and, you're worthy. I just don't
That's
believe
fine,
it.
you can have that belief. Or not. Disbelief.
Thanks, I appreciate you giving me that fucking...
Well, I don't...
I'm trying to make a point.
Trying.
But you interrupted me. So I lost my thought process.
I earned that confidence.
Yeah. Oh. Fuck. I had a trail, but...
Sorry.
You earn the confidence by doing things like... Otherwise, we're all equals. And that's fine to a degree, right? But at the end of the day, we're not all equals in everything. Like, I'm not as equal as Goggins. Goggins blows me out of the fucking water, and he earned that shit. And
A worthiness thing? Like, can't we all feel worthy of, like, ourselves, but still have different levels of human beings?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Well, I guess worthiness is, I think maybe we're talking about two different things. I don't know. Because I think, like, to be worthy to complete a 50 miler, what does that look like? You know, you have to be worthy to do that.
To be capable?
Capable and worthy, same thing. Similar things.
Similar, sure.
Yeah, similar. Very similar, I feel like. There's probably a lot of overlap.
Worthiness? I feel like we're going down a rabbit trail, but whatever. I get what you're saying. Because, like, again, Goggins would, like, blow you out of the effing water. Like, he's done some insane stuff. So, like, he deserves, not on the same level.
Yeah. He's more worthy than I in this fucking thing. He's put in the work. He's done more. He's, like...
He's more capable. He's more determined. He's tougher. He's... Sure. Worthy, though? I don't think so.
I'm not worthy enough to fucking do 135 miles
because
bad
you think
water.
You are. You freaking... I bet you if you had his mindset, you could.
If I had his mindset, yes. So
he
if I
doesn't mean
was...
he's worthy of the mindset and you're not, because you are totally capable of that mindset if you wanted.
I agree. I could obtain that mindset if I fucking put in the work.
Not worthy enough.
No, if I put in the work. If I put in the work, that would therefore make me worthy to obtain that. You know?
No, I don't.
What do you mean you don't know?
No.
Okay, so like, if this guy, this fat guy, right, comes off the couch, right, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking run a 100-meter dash in 2.6 seconds, and then this other guy fucking gets up and he's been training for fucking years, and he's gonna like, oh, I'm gonna run it in 2.5 seconds or whatever, and this fucking guy tries to do it, and he doesn't, because he didn't put in the work, because he did not put in the work to be worthy of that. This other guy put in all the work, so you earn your worth. I'm not saying, like, you're probably thinking of divine whatever, like, you know, like, oh, you know, everybody deserves to be happy and blah, 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 and, you know, for the spiritual hippy-dippy shit, sure, yeah, I agree. I'm not even against the spiritual hippy-dippy shit, but, like, when it comes to certain things, like money, fucking fitness, all these things you have to work for. Like,
I kind of see where you're coming from.
Or
I also am someone that clearly who gets like hung up on words, so maybe we just need a different word. I'm like deserving works for me. You are much more deserving of your faster time because you put in more work throughout the 50 than I did, or have a different mindset or whatever.
Yeah, another thing is like when they talk about like fucking grades. And you ever see that thing, like everybody, like, okay, you know, you got A, B, C, D students, right? And then, you know, everybody gets a grade. And this is kind of how socialism works, right? Yeah, everybody gets a grade because, you know, I did this much work, so I got an A, I studied. And then the burnout, you know, he didn't study at all and he gets a D. Or he fails or whatever. But, you know, and that's how it all is done. Everybody earns their own grade. But then when socialism comes in, and this isn't even necessarily about that, but like, fucking, then we just average the grade, guys. So like now the D gets a fucking C because everybody else did, you know, an A and B's, you know, and you know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at that stuff. Like that guy's not fucking worthy of an A or even a C or whatever if he didn't fucking put in the work. Like you have to put in the work in order to, you know, obtain the result.
That grade. I agree.
We should look up the fucking definition of worthy. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be right. I'm usually right when it comes to like defining words, because I'm like, whoa, wait, and you're like, no, blah blah blah.
Yeah, you look up Webster's dictionary. Who is even Webster? Let's look into that.
That's the official shit. But anyway, we digress.
For real. And okay, so going back to race situation, there's like a lot that goes into this, because like even signing up for something or even like mentally agreeing, because before we even officially signed up, like we were like, we're doing this thing. And so there's like choosing to do the thing, showing up and doing the thing. Like there's a lot that goes into
pressing through the thing.
Yeah. The terrible of the thing.
Yeah. Yep. And I'd like to shout out to my aunt and my mom for fucking crewing myself, you, and Brendan. So that was a big help.
It's seriously so helpful. Like you're always like, I'm just gonna rely on the aid stations. Which I do. Like, I probably did more than you did, but, like, at some point, those aid stations are, like, 10 miles apart, and those 10 miles are freaking long.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes you're like, geez, I need those pain meds, or, like,
yeah,
whatever, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I need my dark stuff now, like.
I didn't rely on my mom until the end. Well, till the last, like, fucking, I'd say 25 miles last year. And this year, I was like, I saw her, I want to say I saw her like 4 times, but I was definitely more towards the end that I relied on her. So,
But either way, like,
yeah.
super thankful, because.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My aunt walked with me for a while. She walked with you for a little bit.
Tried to walk with me.
Yeah. She didn't walk with you after that? I thought she was gone. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, she tried to, like, jump in and help, and I wasn't quite to the point of needing help yet, so I left her behind, like, very early on.
Gotcha.
Because I was just like, I gotta go, Kay. And she's like, that's okay, keep going. Planned on it.
Yeah. She's funny. I like her. Oh, so, yeah, big shout out to them. One of the things that I always get, and I didn't get this year that bad, were the shakes. Like, the fucking cold. Like, after I get done, like, my body just, like, starts shaking and, like, because it's, like, in shock. So I guess it's a normal thing. I looked it up after the first year, because remember we were in that place, and I was like, why the fuck am I so cold? And it's, like, 75 degrees out.
Yeah, I did not get that. But another thing that came to mind is it rained, like, a lot, which just added a whole complexity of, like, suck.
Yeah, dude, it was cold and it was rainy. My feet were wet. It was horrible.
It rained a lot, like dripping, which I was so thankful I brought my hat, because then it wasn't on my face, but it was just, like, dripping from my freaking hat. And then, yeah, wet socks and feet and shoes the whole time.
Yeah, and it got cold once the dark hit.
Especially because we were soaking wet.
Yeah, it got really cold. I was not in a good state at that point. And last year was a total different experience because it was so fucking hot.
Yeah, it was definitely
Like, it was
warm.
brutally hot. It was probably like 80-some degrees easy. Probably in the 90s. I should look it up just to check, but I know.
I don't think it was 90s,
It
but
felt like it at some point. I mean,
it was definitely warm.
But you also didn't start till, well, you started at noon, so I guess
On the hot part of the day.
So.
I was just copying. You started rubbing your thing, and I started rubbing mine.
NLP, bitch.
Mirroring you.
That's because you want to be like me.
But yeah, I think, like, I made my social media post. Yeah, I'm planning that out. But I like a lot of what we get feedback wise is like, I could never, and like, yes, you could.
We get that all the time for everything, like cold baths, which has been one of our recovery things, is cold baths. I think it's going to be a night and day difference because I'm thinking I'll wake up really good tomorrow. I'll probably feel
I'm already
my
feeling better compared to earlier. We also went to the chiropractor today, so got our stuff all realigned too, which is helpful, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's big time.
But yeah, just a lot of feedback that we get usually is like that, and
I could never do that. That's crazy. You're crazy. Blah, blah. Like, I don't know. I want to take this fucking mindset into business now. Like, that's, like, I can do it physically, but I want to, like...
It's the easiest realm to do it, they say.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say so. You know, it's easy to control what you put in your mouth and control how you, take one more step or whatever else. You can't control other factors, as far as, like, relationships and...
it just gets more complex, because, there are more, like,
there's
variables.
More variables that you can't control.
You can still show up in the same way-ish.
Yeah, for sure. And kudos to you for fucking finishing 4 minutes behind me. Like, that's big for you. And, yeah, you had
me. So irritating!
You had me really pushing myself at the end, dude.
I knew I was close to the gap, but it was probably
I was checking your thing every fucking time.
Dude, I didn't check it very
often
at all.
I checked 360 a lot.
I didn't check it very often, especially because my phone started dying and I didn't have the thing to work and blah, blah, blah. So, but then when I checked, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm closer. So then I, like, kind of sped up a little and I looked again and I was like, shit, dude, that's still a decent amount of time. And then I finished just 4 minutes after you. I was like, shit.
I was watching, like, because when you hit into Petoskey and you're on that fucking road, it's kind of a long stretch on the highway or whatever there. Like, I was, like, looking back, like, checking to see if you were okay there, because I knew you were right there. Or, like, when we did the loop, and then we went up. You know how you do that fucking loop when you're going to Petoskey right before you get on the highway there? So you go do that little, like, you go down and then you go up that stupid hill. Like, I looked down the trail, like, to see if I could see your light and shit. So you were damn close. Obviously, you now know, but we were 4 minutes away. I even contemplated on, like, staying there and, like, wait and slowing down just so we could cross it together. But I was like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, so we finished, and we're, like, sitting there, and, like, a few minutes later, this, like, couple comes through, and they're like, woohoo, and they hug and kiss, and I was like, that's cute. My husband left me at mile 1. Yeah, dude, because at one point I was like, what'd you say? Like 4.4 miles, which, like, when you're moving kind of slow, like, I was over an hour behind you.
Oh, that's
probably like an hour and a half.
I looked at one time, you were like an hour and 43 minutes behind me. But then my last 10 miles, they just fucking douche. Because I go from, like, always in the teens, and then, like, fucking my last 10 is, like, always in the 20s. That one was 40-minute miles.
Insane.
Yeah, and like I said, I only sat at my mom's for maybe fucking, like, 10 minutes at the most. Because I was just fucking stopping, getting some fucking food, taking a drink, and then, like, I sat there for, like, a couple minutes just to get the pressure and release off my feet. And then I'm like, all right, let's go. And then
that's when I had saw her not too long after that, and she was like, I'm proud of you. You got him scared. And I was like, scared? Why? And she's like, because you're not that far behind him. And I was like, but, like, you really can only go so fast. Like,
trust me, I know.
Especially
That's why you were catching me.
It got a little less hilly, but there were still, like, inclines and stuff a little bit on that trail, which suck.
I wish people could have the experience. Just, like, you know, like, just be a moment in our shoes at that moment. Like, your legs literally won't work. Like, I fucking kept hitting those, because on the trail there was those little things, like, mole whatevers. The asphalt was essentially, like, had, like, little mole hills. Yeah. You can't barely lift up your feet as is. And then those things, you just fucking run into them. Bam! Oh, fuck.
At one point was, like, because, like, when I would walk early on, I would swing my arms like this, and that just helps you, like, your momentum, you know?
Yeah.
But then towards the end, like, doing this, like, whatever was happening was just not good. So I had my arms straight down, and I was swinging them like this, and that was helping me walk faster.
Yeah. I was running like this a lot, and then I eventually had to, like, flip my elbows up because, like, right here would hurt. Like, it has nothing to do with your fucking legs or anything. Like,
and then my, like,
task.
fingers blew up. Like, I don't know if I just had too many electrolytes and I wasn't getting out enough, or it was just because I was running and they were down a lot, but, like, thick fingers. And
my hands went numb a couple of times. Like,
I'm still numb on certain parts of my foot. It'll come back, because it did last year, too, but I'm like, dang, dude, that's technically, like, nerve damage. That's why it's numb.
Yeah. And another, like, little side thing, like, when I was training for my 100 last year, what's his name again? Jeff.
Yeah.
Reese. Jeff was, so he's, like, he does, like, all the fucking,
all sorts of stuff.
Ironmans, yeah. And he was telling me, like, basically your mitochondria, once you stress them out to that level, they'll never go be back to the same. They're forever mutated. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because you're, like, literally a different person, he was saying.
Yeah, you're literally a different person. Your genetics have, like, forever changed because of what you just did. So, which is probably a great thing, you know, like, if you think about it. Like, because now, like, think about, because your body only, evolution works in the way of becoming stronger. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but the thing better be, yep, okay, we're good. So, like, evolution, like, it adapts to make you stronger, you know? So, like, can you only imagine if we have children or whatever, like, how much more elite they'll be?
For real! That's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. Just thinking about just random shit. So, but, hell, we did it. I don't know if I'm going to do anything again this year. I was considering doing another half Ironman, just because. And then, but I do not want to do it. I need to learn to swim, apparently, because I can't swim worth a fuck. Like, it's not good at all. So, but I can power through everything else, but the swimming is definitely a challenge for me. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'll ever want to do. I'm not an endurance guy. I just don't like endurance stuff. I just do it to fucking do it. You know, it's not something I love. It's not something I enjoy. Like I don't go out and run just for the fuck of it. I just do this random event because like, oh, fucking do it.
You know, Dr. Mark was like, so what's your routine? Like your running routine? Like, we just go to the gym. Oh.
Yeah, I'm just a hobby lifter.
My kneecaps really hurt. I think it's sitting like this because I haven't sat like this in a minute for a while.
Everything hurts.
Yeah, but
enjoy it.
I feel like they're gonna pop out.
Alright, well, sounds like this is coming to a lull.
Yeah, I'm over it. I didn't even want to be here in the first place. No offense. But here's another thing. Pushing through. Didn't want to do it, and
the stairs.
no one just didn't feel like doing it.
Yeah, I didn't either, but that's why. We're a day late and $1 short now. It's supposed to post today.
Yeah.
But, alright, let's see. Go through our heads. Is there anything else you want to add? Like experience, you know? I think that's about it for the most part. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like really we could have probably elaborated more on some of the things, but like it really boils down to like doing uncomfortable stuff, pushing through when things get hard.
Yeah.
Like, and I think for me, just because I'm all like, I don't know, hippy-dippy and like empathetic is like, and especially for me, again, coming from a place where like I felt like I wasn't able to do hard things, like you totally are capable. And like you'll never know though if you don't do things. And it doesn't have to be a 50 miler, but like what can you do? Is it a marathon? Is it a push-up contest where you're like just busting your chest and like doing all these crazy things? Like what is that? Because like again, physically that's the easiest thing to do. So I would just start there, like find something that's physically challenging and a little bit scary for you and do it. And like
fuck, even just sitting in a cold bath, dude. This month I'm part of this thing called the Lion's Den, and the challenge this month, because he usually has pretty much has a challenge every month, some sort of physical challenges, was like push-ups in a minute or hang time, how long can you hang, or you know, pull-ups or your fastest mile. This month it's the cold bath. How long can you sit in a fucking ice cold bath? So like just even that, like then you don't even, it's not even really physical, like you're just like, you know, like all you gotta do is
mental one too.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it's definitely mental, but you know, it's something that you can fucking do. So just challenge yourself. I mean, otherwise if you're not growing, you're dying. So if you just go out there and challenge yourself and find things to do, you'll find you find life a lot better, you know, like it's just a lot more enjoyable, you know. It's like, fuck, so many things to do and so many challenges to take and so much growth to have, like.
And people will call you crazy. I kind of like enjoy that at this point. I'm just like, thanks, because like I'd rather be this kind of crazy than.
Yeah. I'd rather just not be like everybody else. Like, I don't know why I do this stuff. I honestly have no idea. Like,
it's interesting. I don't know. Just because we went to breakfast with some older gentleman before we left for the race, and even before we walked into the house, I said to you, like,
one of our friends, you mean? An older gentleman.
What did I say? No, with some older gentlemen, I said.
Oh, gentlemen? Oh,
yeah.
Gentlemen, not
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
They are our friends, yeah, but
yeah.
Anyway, and even before we walked in the house, like, I was just like, because I was ready for the, you guys are crazy, and like all that stuff, which we did get, and I get like they are older, so like they're not wanting to do those kinds of things, but like I like when the conversation is more, because we had one of our chiropractors, and not like this was like an ego thing, but I just appreciate it because he's like, you guys are inspiration, and like not that I need that to like boost my own anything, but I would much rather hear like uplifting conversation about the things that we're doing, just because like that's more where I'm at than like the normal, like, you guys are nuts, I can't even walk to this spot, like, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I just like the conversation that's different with people that like.
I'm at a weird thing because I want to show people what's possible, but yeah, I don't want them to be, because I'm not like a compliment person, you know, like, I'll compliment myself, thanks though, you know.
You definitely
like,
will.
I don't. Yeah, I get like awkward with compliments. Like I don't know. It's weird. Like they just don't feel right for me. I was like, ooh, that's a weird feeling. Like, don't compliment me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'd rather I don't like, I like to hear that I'm inspiring people or whatever. Because, like, that's my point. Like, that's what I wanted. That's one of the reasons, like, that I do this, is because I want to show people, like, hey, fuck, dude, you can do this too. There's no reason. Like, like, we are all capable of this stuff. And I'm not even doing anything crazy. Like, some of these motherfuckers are way, like, Goggins is way off the wall. And, and I could do what he does too. At some point, if I fucking pressed myself hard enough, I could get to his level. Is it a desire to get to his level? No. But I feel like we all need to get to a level. We don't have to be the most extreme and the best and whatever else. But we do have to do those activities that get us the reward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we still want to be growing. Like, again, that doesn't mean that you're going to be Goggins, but, like, you still want to be growing in your own way.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was fun. To another year, maybe we'll do another one this year. Fuck it. Maybe we'll do a different one. You don't have to do it, I guess.
I'm not in a space to even contemplate yet. So.
Dude, I feel like it would be easier because now our shit's gonna be so conditioned. Like, they're gonna come back so much stronger and better now. Like,
I will think about it.
I'm not even saying I'm for sure doing it. I'm just like, maybe.
Because even this one, I was like, which I do like that we did it again, because it was the same exact race that we did last year and that you did in prior before that. So part of me is like, that would be cool to do this somewhere else, someplace else, some way else. Like, it would just shift it up a little bit.
Yeah, they got one at Coopersville or whatever.
Yeah, it's like in 2 weeks.
Oh, is it?
I'm pretty sure your birthday weekend.
Oh, gotcha. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Oh, God.
See, some of these are like some of them, like, if I went out and did it, I'd probably, like, I might go in there, like, I don't really care whether I complete it or not, just to,
Well, I think that one's like a time, like, just how many you can get in this 24-hour period.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Damn.
I don't know. There are some other ones.
Challenge.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like, 2 weeks might be perfect.
Yeah. We'll see.
Month would probably be better.
That's
two
maybe the
2
weekend
weeks might
before
work.
we go to Cleveland.
A week before we go to Cleveland?
No, we go on the 29th, and I think that's the 24th or 25th. 24th?
Oh, shit. So that's like 6 days.
25th, 26th.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll see.
Anyway.
I don't know. I have nothing's planned right now, but I just enjoy doing stuff that's challenging and growth driven. So, all right, that was a totally rambling podcast. So,
yep.
Glad that we could offer this for you folks and be here. Thanks for viewing.
Mhm.
If you got anything out of this podcast, all we ask is that you share it or share it with somebody, whether that's on your social media or with a friend or whatever. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and we're also on YouTube, obviously. I'm dropping fast, man.
For real, we gotta wrap it up.
Valley.
Okay.
So, go subscribe, like, share, whatever. Comment. We should have done, on which I was planning on it, we should have done, like, photos and videos and stuff on our Instagram and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you did more, like, social media stuff than I did, but, like, when you're out there, I don't know, it just gets,
it's
like...
different, huh?
Like, I did do a few, like, pictures and whatever, but, like, then I just went MIA for a very long time, because I was like, I'm done.
Too.
Like, I don't even care, I don't want to be on there, like... So, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, cool. We're out. See you guys.